What's going on, guys? I'm Brad, this is Despite Fitness, and I gotta start out today's video with a little bit of a caveat, right? So I want to make it very clear that I try very hard to make sure that my channel is informative and not inflammatory, right? So there's a lot of things that I could do with my channel where I could be salacious and I could tap into a lot of the things that are going on within social media or the world, and I could be, salacious, or I could kind of go tap into that drama or try to start beef with people and just kind of like sell off of that drama. That's not what my channel's about. That's not what I'm about. And I think that anyone that knows me would know that very, very well. And certainly many of you who have followed the channel for a little while would know that as well. But there's something that I want to talk about and I want to kind of call out. Not as an effort to start beef with any person in particular or anybody, but rather as just kind of a general idea and mindset, and as a azimuth check, not only for people who are hoping to get into the sport, but especially for people who are hoping to get into the sport or fitness or that. But maybe somewhat to the folks that might exhibit this type of behavior. Because I hope that these words, they sink in just a little bit. Although I doubt that it will affect many people who already exhibit this type of behavior. All right, so that's the caveat, right? I'm not trying to start shit or start beef with anybody, but there's just a pattern of behavior that I kind of want to talk about. And what I'm talking about is this pattern or this disposition that I see within the powerlifting community, and albeit a minority, right? I believe that a minority of people act and think and behave like this. It's still there. It's still present. You still see it if you consume much in the way of media and or social media, specifically social media of people who are powerlifting. And it's this idea of elitism. It's this idea of being, top dog. I'm gonna murder my competition. I'm gonna slay everyone. I'm gonna yada 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 yada, right? I'm this really tough human being and you can't beat me. Is really like the messaging that you see a lot. And it comes out in various forms and various formats, time and time again. And I see it day in and day out. And I have to say at the outset, it's a really pathetic way of exhibiting yourself. And I say that in all earnestness, because if we stop and we think about things and we try to just take stock of things in general, powerlifting is not that big of a deal. It just really isn't. Powerlifting has been for its entirety, has always been a garage sport. It's a hobby. And as much as I would like to see powerlifting grow and become some super phenomenon that everyone tunes into, more than likely it never ever will. It will probably, in all likelihood, continue to be a garage sport, continue to be a very niche thing that not a lot of people pay attention to. And so really the stakes are pretty low. So when we start talking about competitions, we start talking about this, that, and the other, about, I'm gonna murder all my competition at this meet. Nobody cares, bro. Like in 6 months, nobody's gonna remember that meet that you think is gonna be so significant. No one will remember. And just as an example, I ask you this. Who won the Super Bowl in 1993? If you don't know immediately, I'm not surprised, because it's not important. And neither is that meet that you think it is so pivotal and so critical to your existence, and you think that you're gonna show the world and whatever. The world's not watching. The world doesn't care. There might be a half a dozen people around you who are consuming your stuff and whatever, but your 800-pound squat, 800-pound deadlift, 700-pound bench, whatever, that and $5 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. It's just not that important, and no one really cares that much. What ends up happening, really honestly, is that you make yourself look like a tool in front of the world, And a lot of people see that and they just roll their eyes. And you're not being a good ambassador for the sport, and you're certainly not representing yourself very well. Imagine how people really are looking at that and consuming that media that you have. And the throwback for people that espouse that type of belief are going to be like, well, I don't care what people think. Well, clearly you do, because you're on social media, trying to get clicks, trying to get views, trying to get whatever, and like you're trying to project that mentality to the people around you for something. But no one cares. In 6 months, no one's gonna remember your meet, and more than likely no one's gonna remember you. And I'm not saying that I'm on some alabaster pillar of being amazing or whatever. I'm just saying, like, show some dignity, show some humility, show some grace when going about what you're going about. And I'm a super big fan of anyone trying to be bigger, trying to be stronger, trying to be more capable, trying to be more than they were yesterday. I'm a huge fan of that. I think that that's amazing. You should. However, let's not inflate the importance of what it is that you're doing. Let's not inflate the impact of what your PR is going to really be at that meet. Let's not inflate the importance of that meet that you're building up toward this year. And again, in 6 months, no one's gonna remember, man. And like, I just think that it's a very toxic mentality, a very toxic way of presenting yourself, and just a very poor example of what it really is to be in the sport and what it really is to strive and to try to be more and to try to be better. Because ultimately, if you really think about it, at the beginning, when everyone got into lifting, got into powerlifting, all they really wanted was to be better, just to be better than what they were yesterday. And whether or not you're able to rise through the ranks and become the greatest powerlifter of all time or not, ultimately we're all out for the same thing. We just want to be better. And like, I think that needs to be celebrated. I think that really should be uplifted and celebrated among people. Instead of being like, if you don't lift X amount, you aren't shit. That is as toxic gets. And although it might look cool for a post on Instagram or whatever, ultimately you're signaling to everyone around you that you are a self-centered, toxic human being. And that's all that says. So I say this, again, not to really get after the people who are doing this, because I think that if you're already doing that, you're already espousing it, then you're kind of beyond saving and just gonna kind of be what you are. I say this for the younger lifters that are getting into the sport. I say this for people who are looking at the sport and thinking about getting into it. It's not all elitist, and if you don't do this, you aren't shit, and blah, 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 blah. You know what? I think that if you are in and you are wherever you are, whatever condition you are, whatever shape you're in, whatever your experience or background, if you are making a conscientious effort to be better than you were yesterday, then you're all right in my book. And I don't give a shit what you lift, and I don't care what competition you go to, if any. I don't care what your form looks like necessarily, right? And I say that as a caveat because I think that improving form will help make you better. But like at the outset, right? If you don't have the perfect form, so what? You'll learn. The same way that I did, the same way that people who taught me how to do it did, the same way anyone who's ever picked up a weight and gotten proficient at it did. You are no different than them. The only thing that separates is time and mindset. And I just encourage you not to take that douchebaggery of a mindset and behave with some dignity and some grace. That's my PSA for you guys. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment in the box below. Do you agree? Do you think I'm off my rocker? Am I the asshole? I don't know, maybe. I'll drink to that though. Questions, comments, concerns, drop in the chat box below. I will respond. I appreciate your continued support for my channel and everything that you guys have done to help me get where we are. Thank you very much for being along with us. It means the world to me. If you've seen a video or two and haven't subbed up yet, I wish you would. It'd be good to have you along for the ride. And remember guys, no matter what it is you think you can't do, like behave with some modicum of dignity and grace. It's never gonna happen if you don't get straight between your own ears, get in the gym and train to spite. You're either gonna find an excuse, you're gonna find a way. And I hope that you guys continue to find the way. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.